Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Alaska Leaping Forward, Season 1, Episode 4. Today is November 18th, and I'm your host, Robert Shields. We're running a little late today because we've been trying to integrate some new technology, meaning adding someone. So I'm going to be joined by Drew here and see if I can get him to show up and get this conversation going. There we go. There's Drew. So anyway, while we wait for him to join us here, again, my name is Robert Shields. I'm the founder and executive director of a nonprofit based in Fairbanks, Alaska called the Alliance for Reason and Knowledge. And essentially, this is about us moving forward, us achieving our highest potential. And I think that a lot of Alaska's potential can be unlocked once we solve the energy problem. And I think we can. So let me see if I can add Drew here. Okay, so like I said, I'm trying to add Drew here. Okay, he's been invited. Okay, so Drew sees me. I see Drew's watching. Bring Drew webcam camera add. Yes, there we go. Hey.
Hey, Rob. How are you, buddy?
Okay, great. So thanks for everybody sticking with us through these technical difficulties and through the our modern use of technology. Good old buddy here and I are able to sit and chat like we're in the same room, and I'm in Fairbanks and you're in Anchorage, right?
No, Wasilla. I'm in the valley, Matsu Valley.
Okay, so actually I told you Anchorage, it's a little over 300 miles away. So now the great thing is we could be 2,000 miles away. It'd be all the same. So Drew, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to join us. And
absolutely. Let's go ahead and share this video to as many people as you can. If you're viewing right now, if you have viewers and people that think like-minded like us, go ahead and share this out there real quick, everybody. You have the little share button to your left, bottom screen.
Yeah, here I guess I'm trying to invite all my friends and stuff and see who's around and who can jump on with us. Because I got a lot of members in the group.
Just post it to your. You see it? It's in the left. We're gonna have a mild conversation here about some good stuff going on.
Okay, so okay, so let's get this going, because the main value of this is going to be able to be posting this online later, and so that's why we need to keep it to the half-an-hour mark. So the idea here is I'll be able to expand this format into radio and other avenues, and again, that's why we need to try to keep it to like a half-an-hour mark. So basically, in this episode, I wanted to talk about politics, or not, excuse me, not politics. We talked about that last week. I want to talk about money. And money is a huge issue when it comes to making a transition to anything. A lot of people think that it's the root of all evil. Some people think it's the greatest thing since sliced cheese. So basically, what we want to cover here is basically looking at how money can impact change, both positively and negatively. And I've got a background in service that's non-military. Drew's got a background in service that's military. So this is a huge perspective difference, and I thought this would be a good way to just start off the dialogue on how on how we're going to make this transition by figuring out where we're at here. So Drew, thanks for joining me. And I would like to start out by asking you a quick question here, and that is, what inspires you?
What inspires me, as in everyday life, just to be something better than myself. That's Drew all around. I joined the military to do something better than myself. I want to help. I mean, that's my biggest thing is I want to get the word out there about, you know, what all these topics that we're getting ready to cover. I want to get them out there.
Yeah, well, and it's an important point to bring up because I think there's a lot of people out there that would like to see things change. Definitely feel that we need to change, but kind of
Right, exactly.
are
But
uncertain where to
but
start.
seeing change and being changed is two different things, and I think that's what we're getting ready to discuss.
Yeah, we basically that's what the plan's about. There's a lot of things going on in the world today. Not very many of them positive. And I think that in order to combat the depression and combat all of our hopelessness, is what people feel when they try to engage, they get overwhelmed, is having something to look forward to. So the idea of having a plan really is about inspiring people, and it's intentionally vague to the point that it's their concept people can use if they choose, but not necessarily everybody has to adopt or view in the exact same way. Obviously, we don't want that because that's like it goes against what we're trying to accomplish here.
That's stale. I mean, we have a world of people. Why are we kind of keep it stale? Let's just spice it up. We have everybody's, you know, full perspective here. Let's
Yeah,
use it to our advantage.
yeah, and that's why the first step in the transition is actually the leap, which is basically a manifesto that started in Canada. It's become a global movement about environmental stewardship, but most importantly, it's an action item that all of us can take on our own. We don't need anything other than a connection to the internet to read through it, see if it's something that resonates with us, and sign it.
Self
Where
sustainability, exactly.
yeah, yeah, and I am open. I am trying to bring a good broad perspective here. So if you read through the Leap Manifesto and they're fine, and you find things that you don't agree with, let's discuss them. Let's go ahead and get into that.
Right. Open forum, exactly.
And that's one of the reasons that I'm doing the live event is so that people have a chance to get into it, and we will get into a good regular schedule and stuff. But knowing what inspires us and having something to inspire us, I think, is what keeps us moving forward and gives us the motivation to overcome the challenges. So you mentioned, Drew, that you actually you went into the military. So is that your first call to service? How did that come about?
First call to service. First call to service. No, I was I worked in an emergency room for 4 years before I even joined the military. I've been, helping people since, ever. I just grew up in that household that, the giving, that everything that you can give, you can just give it to somebody. And, I think it's, don't want to preach religion because that's just not, I'm not going to do that right now because that's not where I'm at. But, I grew up in that kind of household, a Southern Baptist, a Baptist household that, we give, if somebody has something that we can give to them that we have, we're going to. We're going to take upon ourselves to give it to those who don't have it, because you know what? That's just how the world should work. But
And
in
I
our,
and
but that's just in our. I mean, that's just. And I'm not preaching religion, but that's was instilled in me as a young child. So I mean, I was going to work from in a hospital setting to seeing people come in at their worst moments. I was in the emergency rooms, man. If you've ever been in an emergency room in your worst nightmare, I lived it every day for everybody that was there, and I tried to help. I tried to help them. Some I could, some I couldn't. I mean, I wasn't a nurse, I wasn't a doctor, but I was there. I had to thump chest if I had to. It was a daily job that I grinded through. And then I got inspired by friends of mine. They're like, Drew, you're a good dude. You're a good dude. Why don't you join the military? I got married, joined the military. It was great. I went to the military, did a little less than 5 years. I had my fair share of fun, and I was a firefighter in the military. Made the staff sergeant and got out. Not quite the way I wanted to, but we'll discuss that at a later time. I used cannabis while I was in. They frowned upon that. So, but I was not in the right mindset where I was at. I was stressed from being a firefighter, doing this, that, and the other. And I used cannabis, and they, rejected that, and that's their right and they have to do that. And then much respect to everybody there, but I had to do something for myself. I didn't like drinking. I didn't like pharmaceuticals. I'm an anti-pharmaceutical person. That's just what I am. I don't like. I'm telling you, brother. You can. My wife would preach to me. I don't even take Tylenol. When I'm sick, I'm a baby. You know, I don't like taking it. If I mean, I will take NyQuil if I have to, but you know, I really don't like to. I, I'm
Yeah,
all.
no, I appreciate you sharing that, and
I'll
you're
just give
right.
you my little bit of background right there, just so we could, you know, connect on a different level. You know,
Yeah,
so that way everybody out there knows
and
what
honestly, thank
inspires people. What inspires people? They want truth. They want truth. They want real people. They don't want some fake guy behind a mask. They want the real person. So yeah, that's that's my standpoint, and that's where we're going to get to on these. And I want to push this, and I want to
well,
be a front and stand on a platform and be able to push this for people.
well, wanting real people, I think, is kind of like, it's like they want change in the world. The challenge with that is that when people really realize it, change is actually things that they do in their own life, which means that the change has to start from within. They have to change, and that's not something that a lot of people are very comfortable with doing, and they will go to a lot of great lengths to avoid it. But the other thing that you brought up is that there are cannabis can be. I think cannabis has a huge potential both in the plan and as far as creating a prosperous society. But we need to find inspiration, and that's what we're trying to do is to try to build that
Exactly.
momentum, build that community. And one of the reasons I wanted to share this video is because there is a lot of people out there in the world that think like us. And I think when you watch the news and you read the people or read the paper, what you hear is that people aren't like us. People are just greedy. They will take, they will do. And yeah, everybody's got a point. But I think it's important for us to share that there's a lot more people out there in the world like me and Drew and the people watching this and the other people that want to do good and that money is not a consideration. However, I understand that Drew, one of the motivations for you joining the army was it offered some monetary benefits,
Oh,
and I know,
absolutely.
yeah.
And it was Air Force. Gotcha. Ah, it's okay. It's okay. It's all good. It's all in good fun. It's all in good fun, buddy. Yeah, but of course, I was in West Virginia, you know, in a small little town of my graduating class was 126 people. Okay. So I didn't grow up in a really big place, a little Dairy Queen down the street. It was a small place. So coal mining is what was a big thing and you know, touched my heart. Grandfather, a great grandfather that died in a flood. You know, we have people, all kinds of people that are dying in the mines down there. But the thing is, that was my go-to. That was my go-to. That was my one choice, or the military. I had all my qualifications and still couldn't get a job, man. It's that ridiculous that I would put in so much time and effort and pay the money to get the cards and stuff, and I can't even get a job for 6 months. And I'm sitting there with a wife with a baby on the way, and I have to do something. I
Yeah.
chose the military because I had that option because I was a strong backed male. My back was still strong. My knees were still good. You know, I could still have mentally function. I was good to go. And you know what? I took it upon myself and I went and did it. I was 23 years old when I joined. I wasn't 18. I didn't join right out of high school.
Well, it's good. I see. I hear that a lot. That it's either the military or Walmart, and I think that that's really the lowest common denominator. Because I'm a believer that if uh, if people are given the opportunity to become their highest selves, that's going to make the world a better place. And because I believe that, I'm also very concerned because the opposite is also true. That if you deny people the opportunity to reach their highest potential, then you're really harming the world. And this is where we get into and kind of come back to the topic of the show, which is money and poverty in this 10-year transition plan, because there's a lot of people out there, including myself, that believe that what we experience as poverty today is institutionalized violence. It's actually a system that's meant to divide us in order for the haves to have more, and that's the game they're playing. If you've ever watched the story of Stuff, that they talk about, that more and more and more is not better. better is better. And I think what we're doing here, and I really appreciate you taking the time this afternoon, Drew, is creating that more value of the interconnections between people just as people. So I thank you again for that. And so with that, I have another question here for you, and that
Yeah,
is,
brother.
um, what do you think the world would be like without money?
Okay. What would we hold as a monetary value, though? People's values, their
Well, right now,
beliefs.
yeah, people define money as our fiat system or currency coin, stuff like that, and everything is kind of boiled down to that variable, if it's profitable or if it's cost. And then modern economics often twist that because they externalize a lot of the true cost of doing business, and then they internalize the profits. And this is where it goes back to poverty being a form of institutionalized violence. And have you seen how those tough economic choices have kept people from reaching their full potential in the military?
Oh, absolutely. And I think we're getting on the topic of people in a lot of society call it paying it forward kind of society. It's, if I can back you on your decision on if you want to do something and I think it's a good idea and I want to run with it, let's do it. Let's get as many people as we can together collectively and make this happen for you. And then when you and your idea collectively gets bigger and bigger and bigger, boom, when you explode, what are you going to do? Because you were helped, because you were given, because not you were given, but people like-minded like you were coming together. And now you can be more profitable and share. And that's the world that we want to build for
Yeah,
our future generations. Exactly.
and the funny thing is that is hearing you speak about it. I mean, it kind of I don't want to say religious, but it's definitely spiritual. Now, we did cover in the last show, and we'll probably cover more in depth in future show, the concepts of politics and religion as ideologies and ways to engage, because they're basically social structures that we designed in order to engage with each other. And religion is really just a shared, people who share the same spiritual values and practices. And
It's what you care about the most. It's actually what you care about the most. What do you personally care about the most as a person? And what do you care about, Robert? Personally,
well,
I mean, if you
yeah, my
exactly,
view,
if we had something that we shared, we could personally connect on it. Exactly. But if
yeah,
we didn't, if we personally opposed about something, what would I do? I would say, sir, I respect you. I do not completely agree nor disagree with you, but I'm not going to hold it against you as a person.
yeah. And to answer your question, I'm right there with you. My hope and inspiration is that every day when I get out of this bed, I'm doing better than I was the day before. It may be incremental, like the stock market, it may go up and down, but the idea is that I maintain that hope, and I try to do something, little small steps or big steps every day to keep that going forward. And I have a pretty good idea you probably do the same thing. So,
Oh no. Hey, buddy, I'll tell you about a story. Drove through the Starbucks line, picked up my wife, one of those pumpkin spice lattes, man. She's white girl crazy, wants a pumpkin spice latte. Picked her up from work. You know what I did? I paid it forward $20. I had another 20 in my pocket that I was giving the. Hey, next two cars behind me, let him get a coffee. It's okay. I don't
yeah,
I don't have another listen, I won't tell you my bank account right now because that's stupid. I'm not telling you my financials, but they're not amazing. I don't have millions. But here I am. Hey bud, the next few cars behind me, let them get a 20. It's cool. Somebody's getting another latte. And maybe the next person behind me, they're doing it too. They're like, holy what? What it's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
And I've
and
actually and may I please, 1 second, sir. I've been doing a social experiment of my own. And it's crazy that we've actually got up on this. So there's a gas station, the Tesoro, right by my house. I've been doing this for the last month, and nobody has noticed it. A few people have, and they've caught on. I've watched their eyes. Every time I go in there and I pay with cash, I'll pay with more, and they'll say, "Can I please have $2 in dimes, please?" And they're like, "Okay." Give me this weird, like a three-headed look, and I put it down on the counter right there by their door. I go, and I walk out, and they're like, "What did this guy do to drop $2 in dimes for what?" For the next person that might need it. It's just
Yeah,
that small little,
beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful act of random kindness,
and
and
then
I
that's
think
what. And why can't we get more people? Those little things that make the world a better place. That's what makes. That's what would make America great.
I
If we
think
had
so.
to use that,
What makes
if we
America
had to
great?
use that OSO slogan, if we had to use that OSO slogan, you know, that's what would make America great.
Yeah, and I think it's that kind of behavior that makes America great every day and makes us, makes us who we are in the world stage of what our potential is. And that's what we really need to, to do. But in the world we live in right now, especially in Alaska, Alaska's in a very peculiar situation because we want to grow, but we're limited by our current infrastructure. But our infrastructure has fallen apart. So we're at the point where we need to make some very serious investments, and it's not all money. One of the things I love and what was so beautiful about the example you just gave is that people aren't going to remember that you gave them a dime. It's that they're going to remember that you gave something of yourself, and you left that impression. And some people are going to carry it forward, some people won't. But you're sending that energy out there, and just like what ripples in the ocean, it will come back to you. And I think that's what I've been really focusing on doing is finding ways to empower more people. And this kind of gets us into this back to this topic about money and how to overcome poverty, because I know a lot of people, they struggle for years to escape poverty like it's some black hole. And then at the same time, they carry around this mind frame that money is the evil that creates all the bad stuff in the world. And so, what we're hoping to do with the transition and these conversations is to kind of there was a sci-fi show that the captain said, "Well, we can't get out of a black hole, so we're going to go through it." So turned around, and so the idea there is that,
Why not be a
and this,
yes man? Why not be a yes man and say, hey, let's just do it? Why not?
yeah,
Let's
and
do
this
it.
goes, yeah, and this basically goes back to everything we've been talking about. Is that I've started a company that helps people get money for their dreams and their businesses, and the idea, and that helps me get money to cover my expenses, and it gives me more opportunity to go out to do more of this kind of stuff. And the idea is that we just flood the market with so many prosperous people and helping them become their best selves, that everybody can participate, that everybody can have then what they need. And a lot of
And
these people
ultimately
who live
benefit
with,
everybody. Ultimately benefits in the end in society is
yeah, and
simpatico.
so I'm taking a huge gamble, and I'm going to Vegas. Now, I'm not going down to Vegas to gamble. I'm going down there because there's a conference that's called Impact Cities. And this conference the tagline is that we will no longer accept money for innovation, because as we've been talking about before, that's one of the biggest challenges with government and with small businesses, and really getting the state away from oil or the mineral extraction industries, which one of the things I appreciate from the video you did was that you gave a lot of props to the coal and to the oil people and stuff like that. And because I'm concerned about the impacts they're having now, I will admit that I haven't been as friendly to them and respectful of the contributions that they've made that have gotten us here. So I apologize to you, Isabelli, for anything I've said in the past that has been uh, less than positive. I recognize that we've been, and Droop's helped me with this. I recognize that Cole's got us here. It's what's keeping us alive, and that we're not gonna just abandon it. It's not. But we can do better, and I think for our children we have to. So the point of this transition, and
Progression,
that,
bridging gaps. We're bridging gaps.
yeah, it's just like basically just like when whale oil happened. For a long time everybody powered the world with whale oil, and that changed. The world would be a lot different today if we all still use that. So going back to um, the point of all of this with the money and the influence and stuff like that is that we're hoping to make these connections at this conference and bring back some new opportunities for development work. We're looking at doing a vertical farm. We're looking at other projects that we might be able to get into that can help things. And then as Drew and I have already talked, I'm doing what I can to help individuals like him uh, thrive and get the resources that they need. And one of the things that you mentioned was, when we've kind of talked about here, that I would like to get your perspective on in the last few minutes that we have here, is why do you think it's important that people serve a higher calling than just their own personal ambitions?
what makes you feel good as a person? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing?
I'm
You
still doing the
know,
best I
you
can.
know, I can't bring it back to another sermon that I heard, dude. It was great. It was awesome. What's that dash between the two dates? What are you doing? The dash between the dates, man. That's when you live. That's when you thrive. That's when you go. That's when you do.
Yeah,
Another guy that I heard the other day, he said, if you're living for the weekend, you're living your life wrong. If you're working Monday through Friday to get to the weekend, you're absolutely insane. Why shouldn't you live Monday for Monday, Tuesday for Tuesday, and every day like it's a day that you've been blessed with?
every breath. Every breath is a new reality.
I mean,
And
why aren't you doing something?
yeah. Well, I think that, like I said, and it kind of goes back to where we started this show off at, is that there's a lot of people out there that are thinking like us and are trying to find ways to engage in their own lives to do something. And these getting out there and serving something better than yourself, putting yourself out there, I think really helps connect us and gives us that hope to overcome those challenges. And I really thank you for taking the time to chat with me this
Absolutely.
afternoon. And I think that in this short amount of time, we've covered a lot because that's what we're trying to help do. Is we're a part of that transition is the mental transition in everybody's mind from spending our time making a living and focusing on spending our time building a life. And I think that's really
Loving
where we
life.
get
Living
really
life.
value.
I mean,
What's
why
that?
can't people prosper and enjoy life while helping others? And then it's all around good. All around
It
good. So,
It is. So anyway, well, unfortunately, we are about out of time today, but I do want to appreciate you, or thank you, Drew, for coming on. And I want to thank
yes,
everybody
sir.
who takes time to look at this material. And we are getting better every day. We are growing. Today was an experience in growth. It was a little difficult, but we stuck with it and we made it happen. So we'll be here
Progression,
next
man.
week,
Progression
and
happens.
we'll
It's
be
gonna happen.
talking
We're good.
more about the transition plan. And I'll hopefully have another guest, and we'll keep this stuff growing. So thanks everybody for sharing and liking, and be sure to subscribe for our YouTube channel, and we'll see you next week. And in the
All right.
meantime, everybody stay beautiful.
Bye, guys.